So I'm going to come in, and from Chapter 1, we did the file, new project. Again, I'm calling mine BS instead of Baby Store. So I'm going to throw it right out onto the desktop, hoping I don't have one named BS. It doesn't look like I do. Yes, I do. All right. Then I'm going to call it I'm just going to call it Baby Store, and I'm going to put an extra E in there. You'll understand why later, okay? So I've already got a Baby Store 2. That's why I don't want to use that. So I'm going to call it Baby Store with an extra E. All right? Okay. I want to stick it under the desktop. Good. And I want to call it, yeah. That when you downloaded it, you should, if you use the community edition, there is no expiration date on it. There's not supposed to be a 30-day trial on it. Not sure exactly what happened, but there's when you download the community, there's supposed to be no. No, I've never had to since I've downloaded it. All right. So, MVC, change it to individual user accounts. You know the song and dance by now. All right. So that was basically everything from Chapter 1. So jumping back into Chapter 2, and again, I realize some of this will be review because we've done it before. Sorry about that. So, like I said, I'm just going to follow their lead. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to right mouse click on Models, choose Add Class. First thing I want to put in here is my product.cs, which is shown on the bottom of page 13. I'm going to do the old prop tab, and I'm going to go and copy it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields in here. All right. So I've got an ID, string name, string description, decimal price, int question mark, category ID, and what does that question mark mean? What does that question mark right here mean? Come on, somebody. No, close, but no. Means it could be possibly null. So we could create a new category that does not, yet have a category ID associated with it. All right. We don't need any of these. The author recommends you can leave them or remove them. I just got rid of them. All right. This, they say potential fixes. I wouldn't recommend letting the system create it for us. Again, this will go away in just a minute. All right. We talked before about what the stuff in there is, so I don't think we have to do that again. I'm going to, again, right mouse click. Again, choose Add, and again, choose Class. This one will be my category. So there's my product. Under models, where did I put category? All right, and I stupidly put category in the wrong place, so I'm going to remove it and put it in the right place. So under models, right mouse click again, add class category.cs. There it is, good. Come back in here again, my prop, tab, and this one has how many fields in it? 3. String name. So good. And virtual collection products. All right. Again, I'm going to click the light bulb, remove any unnecessary usings. You can leave them there. It doesn't matter. All right. We need the collections generic. We've got that. Hopefully this also fixed the error we had in product. Okay, and you can see it did. So we've got all that stuff. Nothing new there, right? All right, then I'm going to come in and add the database context class. So I right mouse click on the name of the project, add, new folder, DAL, right mouse click on that, add class. They told us to call this store context. All right, that was supposed to inherit from DB context, which means to do that, we're going to have to add the user system entity. There that is. I can remove the rest of these if I want to. All right. And here we've got public DB set product products get set public DB set category categories get set. All right, it doesn't recognize these because they were from the other namespace, so we want to put that using statement in. Now that's there. Everybody, that's where everybody was, correct? Everybody has that? Am I right? Okay, everybody except one person has that. All right, so I'm going to save that, and here's where stuff changes. Okay? Now, first thing is, if you look up on the screen here, everybody, even if yours didn't work, if you look up on the screen here anyway, all right, I had asked you to copy this in. Here's the problem. The reason we were getting that error, attach DB file name, that's one word. If you copy it in like this, it copies it in as 2 words. That's why it's breaking. All right? So, I'm going to grab this again, right mouse click on here, choose copy. I'm going to come down to the bottom of the page here, find my web config. Under my web config, where we've got our connection strings, I'm going to add the second one. Now, please look up on the screen here. Notice attach DB file name. That's the one up above it. See that? All right, so if I just come here and I put that in, that'll fix the error that we got. All right? Now, since I called mine baby store with 2 E's, I have to change that here. You don't have to. All right, so that will fix, or at least better, fix the error that we got. All right, one more thing we have to do. Please look up on the screen here. All right, everybody, please look up on the screen here, regardless of where you are, what you're doing, etc. Right mouse click on App Data. Choose Add. Right mouse click on your App Data folder. Choose Add. Then choose New Item, not Class, New Item. Right mouse click on App Data. Choose Add, New Item. That should bring you here. Is that where you are? If you're not, then make sure you're right under Visual C#, not under Web or anything. We want to choose SQL Server Database, and yours will be called Baby Store. Mine will be called Baby Store with an extra E on the end. The reason that I'm doing it that way is I already have one called Baby Store because I went through the entire exercise yesterday. Make sure yours says Baby Store, all right? Click Add. Then what you should notice is in your App Data folder right here, you now have this. See this? And if you say it's not there, you may have to click one of these buttons up here, the refresh button that's in the middle. But it should be there. All right? Has everybody done that? Who can do it? All right? What? Yours is still loading or what? Is it almost loaded? Are you putting that in a notepad file like you usually do?
It said timeout period elapsed while I think the consumer needs a handshake acknowledgement.
You'd have to Google here because I have not heard that one. What it probably is under your setup. It usually has like 30. It's set to 30 seconds. That if it basically isn't allow itself to log in within that time, it logs you out. That's probably what it is. And I'll tell you what, for both of you, if we get everything working today, what I'm going to do is, if hopefully the other three will work, but for your two, if they don't work or whatever, I'll give you the folder with all the working stuff in it. All right? And anybody else who has problems, I'll do the same thing. Now, you don't have to do this, and actually you should. If you've made changes, have all the rest of you made changes? You did, right? You changed that to that attached DB file name, one word, etc., right, Matt? So go back and rebuild. So do another build solution. All right, build solution. And I'm going to recommend that now that this is correct, that if you made the other day that category controller, if you still have it, get rid of it. So go under controllers. If you still have a category controller.cs in there, get rid of it. Then under views, if you've got a category folder under views, get rid of the folder. Everybody hear that? All right, because honestly, I'm not trying to be funny here. It ain't funny anymore. I want this to work. All right? Everybody's done that, correct? Andrew, correct? Evan, correct? All right. So now we're going to right mouse click on our controllers folder, choose Add, and choose Controller. All right? Just like we did before. We are again going to choose the third option down, MVC Controller with views using Entity Framework. Third one down. And click Add, which should bring you right here. Our model class should be Category. Our data context class should be Store Context. And our controller name should be Categories Controller. So it should look like this, which does look the same way that it looks on page 17 in the book. Everybody cool with that? All right. Click Add. Now I'm not going to spend much time, but I'm going to go back, and for lack of better words, I think this is a weird word and I don't think it exists. But the other stuff where they examine the category controller class and methods, we did that the other day, but since I didn't save the tape, all right, I'm going to re-review that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm going to spend a little time on it. All right? So, in the controller class, if you look at it from the beginning, all right, the first thing that you see in there is what? The first thing that you see in there is the index. All right? All of that is designed to do by default is to show us everything we have in there, is to show us our categories. Does that make sense? And literally that's what this means. Go into categories and list them all out. All right, again, make sense? Okay. Then we go down into details. And notice details. Look up here, please. If you pass in a number, it's supposed to give you the details about that number. We're going to create 3 categories in a couple minutes. All right? We are going to create clothes, and I think it's toys and feeding or something like that. It's in the book. But clothes will be number 1. So if we say this, if we say categories / details /1, it should give us the details about just that, everything that's in number 1 for category 1. Does that make sense? So details in this case is designed to give us information about just a single category. All right? We've also talked, if you look down a little further, you look either on the bottom of page 18 or if you look up on the screen here, we talked about the difference between create and having an HTTP post on top of it. This one, it's redundant, but I believe there's nothing wrong with you putting in here that. Again, it's redundant, so people do not. But that's what's happening there. So look at it this way. Okay? If I want to do CRUD operations, I don't care so much about read. But if I want to create, which is an insert, correct? If I want to do an update, if I want to do a delete, would you agree that if I try to do one of those 3 operations and they work, I'm changing the database? Would you agree with that? Okay. So if I'm just bringing a form up so I can look at it, that's going to be the HTTP GET one. If I bring up a form and change it, so if there's a create button, I put a value in there and click create, then this is what's going to run. Does that make sense? Same kind of thing for edit. All right? The edit that's right here is just literally going to bring up the current record or the current one I want to edit. This is going to allow me to change it. And the big thing here, look, DB save changes. DB save changes. All right? For delete, this is going to bring my delete screen up. This is going to allow me to change my delete screen. Okay? The disposing we'll look at in a little bit. I'm not going to worry about that right now. So that's pretty much what they explain on pages 18, 19, 20, and 21. All right? Then on the top of page 21. Then on page 21 near the bottom of the page, they tell us to go and look at categories. All right? And they want us to go to views and index.cshtml, which is this file that you see. It's on page 21 in your book, and it's right here. All right? Again, look on the screen. Quick. Oh, they went away. It's too late. I'm not trying to be funny. When it came up, it had those red squigglies under everything. That just happens. All right? So if you look up on the screen here, this was automatically generated for us. All right? Now we're going to try this. We've all done our build and our build solution, correct? All right, well, I just did it again. That's fine. You don't have to do it again. If you've already done it, you don't have to do it again. But it wouldn't be a bad idea, just on the very, 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 very off chance that we have a problem here. Let's click our double disk icon to do a save all. All right? Once you've done that, if you would please, what I'd like you to do is make sure that you're under categories right here. All right, so you're under your categories index file. Okay? Then take your mouse, just put it on there, right mouse click, and choose View in Browser. And what you should get is that. We didn't get that yesterday. You can say, well, I did. I don't think anybody got that yesterday. What we're going to do now is we're going to add 3 categories. Notice we're in category index, which means we're under, for lack of better words, the home page for categories. It's the categories controller, and I didn't even try this, but what should happen is if I do remove this and hit enter, it still stays there. See that? Because that's the default one. But I'm going to put it back there anyway. Now, if you would please, everybody who's is working right now, click the Create New link right here. Right there. Click Create New. All right, come in here, and in the first line, put in Close. And after you put that in, click Create. Notice I now have a category. All right, then click Create New again. And this time, the second one, put in Toys. And click Create. And then for the third one, click New again. Let's purposely, listen to me, let's purposely spell feeding wrong. Okay? Let's put in feeding instead of feeding. Yeah, purposely make a mistake and click Create. So now you've got 3 categories, right? All right. Since we know we screwed up feeding, let's click Edit and change it to feeding and choose Save. All right. Now, I can click Edit. I can also click Details, but there's not much to show. All right. You can go back to your list anytime by clicking Back to List, and you don't have to do this, but please look up here. Let's say that we don't have any more clothes. We're not going to sell clothes here anymore. We click Delete, and it does say, are you sure you want to delete this one? All right. So I'm asking you this question right now. Was everyone who is up to this point, were you able to add those 3 categories? Evan, you said yes. Andrew? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yours is working again, Colin? Good. All right. All right. And then over there we've got the beaver. All right? All right. If you want to know exactly what this stuff means, we talked about it a little the other day, but if you look on page 22, in fact, let me bring that page up in here. All right, it says here is a breakdown. So you can look at your own code on that page if you would. Just so you know some of this stuff. I enumerable, I is for interface. Enumerable basically means you can store different kinds of data there. All right? It's a generic type, for lack of better words. All right? The title of the page, are you getting this? If you look up right here, this is we're looking in the index.cshtml file. Remember, CSHTML means C# hypertext markup language, right? When you've got this, it means break out of HTML mode and go into C# mode. All right, we're going to use the viewBag object. We're going to set the title to index. All right. These things that you see right here about halfway down on the page, this action link, as it says, that's what creates those hyperlinks that has create new. So in other words, this right here, look on the screen, please. This is what the hyperlink says. This is the method that's going to be called. So this is the hyperlink. This is the method. No, not the CS_HTML method. That's the method of the controller you call. So that's, the controller method is what calls the view method. Just so you know, I want you to have an idea of how this stuff is working. All right? It says this is an example of what's called, this is an HTML helper method. You're going to see those as we go on in here. All right. Then HTML.displayName4. It displays the name of the specified field. You might say, big deal. It'll be a big deal in just a couple minutes. All right? You may or may not have noticed this. I'm starting to understand this author because he's weird like I'm weird. And what I mean is, what he did in the products table is he put a field in there named name. You hear me? What he did in the category table is he put a field in there called name. So later, when we go and combine those two, you're going to have two fields that are both called name. And he's going to show you then how you can change that. All right, so we're going to look at that in just a minute. And this right here, if you look up on the screen, it says that this code loops through each of the categories contained in the model and displays the value in the name field. So this, when we went through this, this is what brought up what you see on page 23. That is what brought up this, the names and the links with it. So that came from here. Does that make sense to everybody? And again, look up on the screen. This is saying if you click the edit link, you want to call the edit controller method. If you click the details link, you want to call the details controller method. If you call the delete link, you want to call the delete controller method. Here's a quick question for you. Just guess if you don't know. Do these two names have to be the same? No. Usually they are, because it makes your code more self-documenting. But if you wanted, for instance, to put in edit a record, show all records, and delete a record or something, you could do that. All right? This right here, remember this from the first day when we went over this? This means you can optionally include an ID. Why? Because this will allow you to edit an individual record. This will give you the details of an individual category. This will allow you to delete an individual record. Make sense? All right. So let's go back. If your program is still running, go back to it, like mine is right here. Everybody agree this says categories right there? See that? Well, I just want categories. I'm going to put in here /2. What's going to come up when I hit enter? This isn't an array. It's not an array. What should come up? Toys. Oh, the resource can't be found. Well, what doesn't it like? Oh, I didn't put the word details in there. So it knows what I want, but it doesn't know what I want to do with it. Details too. There you go. I could also, please look on the screen. I can put in here edit 2. See that? I can put in here delete 2. You have to spell it right, not delete. Does all that make sense? So what is happening? That's too much work for you to do. You may not agree with that, but it is. That's why the system allowed us to put them in like this. If you are working and you are creating a package, if you are creating an application for someone, isn't this much easier than doing it the other way I just showed you? You know, you've got to kind of look at it this way. I'm going to say this. You might laugh or smile. Honest to God, I'm not trying to be funny here. But if you look at it that most of the people you're doing work for are idiots, you're much better off. You want to make their life as easy as you can Because by doing it that way, you'll make it as hard for them to screw up as possible. They're human beings. They will still screw up. All right? But ideally, their screw-ups will be minimal. All right, so that's what we're shooting for. All right. So next, what we're told to do, if you look up on the screen, please, what the author tells us to do is to go in and now look at the create that's in here. I'm on pages 24 and 25 in the book. Does it make sense to you? Don't look at me, but listen to me. The code in the index.cs HTML file should be different than the code that's in the delete.cs HTML file, that's different than the code in the create.cs HTML file, that's different in the code than the edit.cs HTML file, that's different in the code in the details.cs HTML file. Does that make sense? We've already been going over this stuff, but they're showing you what's happening in here. Now, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, okay, you should understand some of the stuff that's up there in blue. I'm not saying you understand all of it, but you should understand some of it. It's unbelievably important that you do. What I mean is this. That's Bootstrap. You should know that. That says that medium-sized devices are above. What comes next should take up 10 columns. You should all know that. All right? Now, if you need any more explanation than what I just gave you, and I'm not saying, wow, what I just gave you, was that ever fantastic? Why would you need any more explanation? But if you want more, they give you some more on the bottom here of page 25 and the top of page 26. Okay, everybody cool with that? I look at some of the first-year people. I don't know. Tony was talking to me yesterday, and he mentioned he's been in there, 4 or 5 times? Nobody's ever asked him a question until yesterday. They finally started talking. And they seem really content with me reading to them. But I don't want to do that. And I especially don't want to do that with you guys. So what I'm giving you is a summary of everything that's on those pages. That's all. All right. So they go through the edit on 27 and 28. They go through the delete on 28 and 29. Everybody cool with what's going on in there? All right. All right, then let's go back. If your program is still running, make sure you stop it. Okay. Why? I'm going to close what I've got up here, and I want to go back to my controllers. All right, I want to go back to my controllers. If you are following along in the book, I'm on the bottom of page 29. Right mouse click, please, on your controllers folder. Right now in controllers, we've got account, we've got manage. Those two are for the stuff that's our login stuff that's way over on the right. All right, we've added categories. So now we're going to right mouse click on our controllers. We're going to choose add class. And now we're going to choose for the name of this. This is going to be our product. I'm sorry, I did it wrong. I apologize. Cancel this. Right mouse click on controllers. Choose add controller. My error. Right mouse click and choose add controller. Sorry. I'm trying to get through as much as I can before 1:25 so I can run out of here. That's still no excuse. That was stupid on my part. Make sure that MVC5 controller with views using entity framework is selected like we've got there. Choose add. Over here, we want our model class to be product. We want, notice it automatically filled in our store context, and it's given us the name of products controller. Is that how everyone's screen looks? Okay, then just click add. What you should notice is we now have a new controller called Products Controller right there. And if you look down into here, we now have new products here too. Everybody see that? What I want you to do is I want you to right mouse click on create.cshtml. Right mouse click on it and choose View in Browser. Right mouse click on it and choose View in Browser. It should come up with your local host, your port number, products create, right? Okay, what's cool is work your way down. Look at category ID. See that? That's filled in for us already because we set it up like that when we created our DB, when we created those classes. All right? So, later we'll go and we'll put some data in. Let's not worry about it right now. All right? I'm going to go back just to products like that and hit enter. And you'll notice, isn't this what you'd expect? I mean, that's what I expect. All right? Now, what they want us to do next, again, please look up here. All right? They want us to go down to Views. All right? And under Views, open up the shared folder. And under the shared folder, find the underscore layout.cshtml file. See this? Right here. So under Views, all right, under Views, go to Shared, and under Shared, find the layout.cshtml file. Now, you may or may not remember this, but I did tell you this a few days ago. You don't have to go there, but look. That's the magical line right there. That tells it to render whatever it is we're currently working on. You don't have to change that line, but I want you to understand that. That's all. Now, what the author wants us to do here is this. Please look up on the screen. There are different ways that you can do what I'm about to show you. I'm going to give you what I consider to be the easiest way. Okay? So, I'm going to highlight this line right here. The one that says HTML action link. That one, I'm going to copy it to the clipboard and I'm going to paste it in twice. It's like, why do you have it in there 3 times? We're going to change it. All right? The first one here, get rid of the word contact and type in shop by category. And change this one to index. And change this to categories. All right? Then on the next line, this should be view all our products. This should again be index. And this one should be products. All right? So the 2 lines we added are the ones that I have here in blue. Okay? Now, I never mind making fun of myself. But I just want to tell you something, and it was, have you ever done something where you're coding or whatever, and you make an error, and it should be so obvious to you, but you just don't see it? Yesterday on mine, I left the S off of products, and nothing was working. And you probably couldn't tell here because I do a pretty good job of hiding it, but I was pissed. I couldn't figure out why. And then finally, I'm like, oh my God. I looked up in the URL when I was running it, and I saw product instead of products. So let's play computer again. This is going to add, would you agree with this? Look on the screen, please. We have those on every page, don't we? At the top of each page, we've got a home link, we've got an about link, and we've got a contact link, correct? Now we're going to have 2 more links. The first one will say shop by category. The second one will say view all our products. This one says, if you click this, go to the index method in the home controller. This one says if you click this, go to the About method in the home controller. This one says if you click this, go to the Contact method in the home controller. Correct? Now, look on the screen. This one says if you click this, go to Index in the Categories. This one says if you click this, go to Index in Products. And remember, Index is our default kind of home method. Does that make sense? Yes? All right. Click your double disk icon, please. All right. It doesn't really matter which of these we choose, but what we're going to do is, for the heck of it, let's go down to here. Let's find our, I don't know. Let's just do it from home. So open up your home folder under Views, right mouse click on Index, and choose View in Browser. Now, see what's happening here? Look on the screen. See this? It's pushed over because there's really not enough room for it. Does that make sense? Now, depending on how anal you are, okay, just so you know, we could change that. We really don't need to say application name there, do we? In fact, later, I think they have us change that to Baby Store. All right? Because application name is just stupid. But that's fine. All right, now, you already know, if you look on the screen here, if I click here, okay, I'm right where I am. That's the same thing as if I said either home or if I said home index. Everybody agree with that? If I click on this one, I'm at home about, right? Notice it's got all my stuff in here yet. If I go here, now it's home contact. Well, try clicking here. Looky there. All right. Shop by category. We're going to put some products in just a minute. All right. And then view all our products. Not much to see, is there? All right. What happened? Look up on the screen if you would, please. Notice it moved to products, which is the same as this right here. Look on your screen, on the screen. That, what else could I put on the end there? What could I put on the end and have it not move? /index. Because that's where we told it to go, correct? So by putting in these two extra links, the user doesn't have to iterate his or her way over and type in something in the address bar. All right? All right. I think this is a good place for now to stop. We're up to page 32. I'll quick run over. If the nurse is there early, then I'll be back in 10 minutes. We'll plan on starting up. It's 1:20. We'll plan on starting up at 1:35. Fair enough? All right.